3. MarineLorD 2 points on the board, and VortiX not even gaining 1 yet. Can he at least do as well as his bro, Lucifron, who was able to finish the series against MarineLorD 4-1 last weekend?
I will have to ask EGCT, what are tiebreaker rules? Because that's really important for VortiX and his motivation, right? Because if it comes down to map score, already being behind 2-0 isn't that pretty. If we have direct comparison, then VortiX not looking too hot either, because Puppypaw and Lutifron obviously beat him earlier. And therefore, well, we have to see how motivated VortiX is. Obviously, will try his best. But obviously, there's a different motivation. If you still know, okay, if I win this one, it's going to be 1250 more for me.
Yeah, I think, like, as it stands, VortiX can't come third, right? Because he lost to Puppypaw. So he's just kind of locked out. This was a discussion that me and Beastie had. We were a little bit disappointed in the way that the Lucifron MarineLorD series played out, because essentially it wasn't just Lucifron, like, you know, screwing over his own opportunity to just qualify. It was also that he was making sure his brother had no chance as well. And that series felt a little bit tilt-driven. One thing I'm at least happy about so far, like, although Game 2 is a bit weird from VortiX, I don't feel like he's tilted, right? I don't feel like this is just stress guy is giving up. And I like to see that. Like, even when your back's up against the wall, even when you can't make it, like, you can still make a little bit more cash, and you still got your honor and pride to play for them. We know that these gamers, like, they believe they're the best. They want to be the best. They're not just going to roll over and play dead.
Yeah, obviously lots of eyes on them as well, right? Lots of honor, and you know that your brother likely going to watch as well, right? And you don't want to be the one, yeah, like, oh god, I just lost those games. Yeah, but didn't we have those mistakes yesterday? Like, didn't you promise to never lose to that strat again? Like, yeah, I did.
You know, I mean, like, the interesting part for VortiX is, like, he should have good info on MarineLorD from that series, because I think VortiX and Lucifron play very similar styles of Age of Empires. VortiX does it a little bit better, and you can see that historically in the results. But there's no denying that these guys scrim together and are very good at, like, you know, impressing upon each other with their strategies. So hopefully it's something he's took to heart. Hopefully he's got someone interesting in mind. An interesting start when he finds this many wolves and already has 155 bounty. Looks like it might be a good start for the Rus.
Not unlikely that we will actually get to tier 2 before the 4-minute mark here, and I'll try to find some more. That's actually pretty greedy, right? Already had 3 wolves behind him, and now we see MarineLorD going to fuel late. Should be pretty reasonable for him, and here also went for a second scout. VortiX a bit slower, but as we all know, likely to rush that golden gate with at least 4, 5, 6 villagers.
Well, it's about the wheelbarrow as well, right? Like, you sacrifice your timing slightly. MarineLorD didn't get wheelbarrow. Also, I don't mind the delay on returning the wolves as long as his food isn't at 400. And it looks like the timing on this should line up perfectly for VortiX to have 400 food and get enough gold through finishing off one of the wolves. So, should be an optimal
Forgot
timing.
the wolves, though. Oh, no. No, they're coming.
yeah, I was about to say, where they going? What are they up to? 5
What?
wolves.
How many did you found?
I don't know how, but these wolves seem to have breeded on the run back to VortiX's base. We thought it was just 3. Turns out there's 5, so it ends up being 125 gold banked, and that means a VortiX, well, you should be able to be close to cracking that 300 bounty mark, a respectable number when you're playing as the Rus.
Interesting Golden Gate placement. Look at that. That, I think, implies that we are not going to see professional scouts.
No, we're going to see a purple.
Okay.
Like,
because typically you want to have the Golden Gate, like, lots of people are building the Golden Gate next to your town center, because you don't need space for farms, because you have that much food with your professional scouts.
Yes, but I think this is more about the optimal placement to move onto the boar. Because then when you select 2 villages from the wood line and you have the ones forward of that and you click towards the boar, it will formation shuffle the ones on the wood line forward quicker. So we should see that coming in a sec. Like, the window of opportunity is about to arrive. Like, 4:30 is about the first pull time for these Rus boar plays. The others being usually 6.5 minutes, and then 8. And yeah, there it is, moving out. But MarineLorD, he already gets a whiff of it. He knows what's happening here. He pulls the villagers out because he knows he's behind on his timing, almost being at 5 minutes now. He needs to get the defenses up before MarineLorD can get any aggressive troops out on the field.
Triple scout around villagers. Actually, misclicked.
Oh, no,
misclicked here. What's happened? What?
Sir, please. All right, I'm taking those villagers to court. They said they would be finished by 5 minutes. They lied. I want a refund right now. Sport will at
guess
least go down, but...
Fourth round,
He
though!
gets him. Yeah, but this is just more distractions. VortiX still hasn't noticed. VortiX literally has a gold bar at the top of his screen telling him it's not complete. And he still doesn't do it.
Lineker goes crazy as well. Okay, honestly, like, but what is VortiX doing with it? Why would he need it? It's only to get your ticks a bit quicker. So he wasted some very small amount of resources here.
Well, there's multiple reasons, right? Like, your archery range isn't going up yet. It's going to be slightly delayed. And you had enough wood for the wooden fortress and archery range. If you're thinking about going for a secondary TC, as you said, the ticks, that's going to slow down the stone gathering initially. And all the while, like, you've given more free room for your opponent to go multi-TC with zero pressure potential because you hadn't teched up at all.
Second town center now by MarineLorD is not going for a third one. Could be a really nice spot between the gold and the wood, but rather decides to block off the deer here at the bottom. I don't mind that at all, especially against Roos.
Especially when the Roost player is playing onto the right side, right, on the ball. He shouldn't see this. I'd be very surprised if VortiX spots this in the next 5 minutes.
But still has to build the mill. Then it doesn't excite me that much anymore. Then I think I would have liked between the two wood lines or between the wood and the gold. Oh, we're going for a third town center for MarineLorD here. And then build the mill later.
Oh, though. It's only one villager. I wonder if he's thinking about outpost defenses. Or if he's going to pull additional villagers afterwards. Because one villager is not going to get you a third TC anytime soon. You could probably go make yourself a coffee, probably make yourself some spaghetti bolognese, and by the time you come back, you might have the resources.
One villager on stone from MarineLorD, right? Is that going to be a second town center then, or not? Third town center or not?
I think it's outposts, but I'm wondering where the outposts are going to be. Like, usually you have one villager like this for a delayed, like, double outpost push near maybe the ball. But, like, this feels like it's not what he's doing. I wonder if he just didn't notice one villager.
Doesn't sound like a MarineLorD thing, though. It's like I always try to believe that some bigger plan is around here. Blacksmith now coming in. Wouldn't be surprised if we eventually see, well, even some aggression with the Rams there. Siege engineers an option. Triple archery range production continues. Scout likely to die. And now double stable, one archery range. I think MarineLorD should fight this first aggression off.
Yeah, it should be quite easy. You know, I just want to go back to that thought process. Like, you always like to think it's like not a mistake. There's an intent behind it. Like, were you one of those kids who was raised like it's not an accident? It's like a happy coincidence or a happy occurrence sort of thing.
Well, if I did something, it always was an accident, according to my father.
I mean, my parents just straight up told my sisters they were accidents. You know, there's no happy surprise like logic behind it. You gotta be real with people. Like in this situation, like we have to remember these players can make mistakes. They're not infallible gods, no matter how much we try to put them on a pedestal.
Okay, I will ask him after the game. You had one villager on stone. Abbasid game after you built the second town center. What was the reasoning?
Whoa. I think the better one to ask is VortiX. What was happening with the Golden Gate? Did you think it just looked prettier, incomplete with scaffolds, or? Okay, aggression now starting to come in. I think KD should still be at 0-0 here. Maybe. Oh no, the surrounded scout early on, right? Yeah.
But now the real fight is going to start at the 9-minute mark. Villager advantage should obviously be on MarineLorD's end. Is mixing in some archers now in addition to his horsemen. Tries to cut off reinforcements. But VortiX keeps his army together.
Yeah, he's just like trying to reach critical mass. Usually you get to around 30 archers and then you can build into the rams. I would love to see him prep a second TC and delay the ram timing though. Like you are against the Abbasids, you are going to be able to find that expansion TC. There's the info he needs. And the beautiful thing is the timing on this. Like look how many villages are there. You're almost at a point where there's not enough room for everyone in that inn. And that means some people are going to have to sleep out in the cold, peppered with arrows from the Roos.
The thing is, though, the ram push most likely comes from the bottom, right? So villagers could run away from the top. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And look at that. Simply, do we not have a single scout? We have one scout out, but not really getting the vision into the stealth forest here. No idea about the ram coming up.
Yeah, so he doesn't know that's being snuck. Like, look at the crafty placement as well. This is one of those I didn't mean to do that patchwork jobs, right? Like, you start building it and the forest disappears. Like, I hope he doesn't look from this direction. And he doesn't. So ram complete moving in. That is a lot of archers. 9 spearmen as well. MarineLorD now transitioning the archers, but only up at 9 right now. And MarineLorD Has to pull away from the gold line, so can't think about just rushing castle here. He's going to be forced to fight, and that means he needs to prep more infrastructure. The blacksmiths will be able to get the initial upgrades. Needs to get that under mesh. Question mark is how much more
22
can he get?
military against 36. Oh, House of Learning obviously relatively exposed. Not the most important thing here. We got our most important upgrade, and we will fight in Feudal Age for quite some time, so that's actually buying quite some time. Now Spearmen being added for VortiX knows about the Horseman count. Horsemen are coming in again, trying to cut off reinforcements, but Spearmen should be enough there, and scaring those away.
Yeah, the problem is MarineLorD has like peeled it entirely off, right? This is one big advantage of Horsemen is you can actually like just cut off reinforcements. But in this situation, the Spearmen have no demand on the front line. MarineLorD still doesn't have enough archers to hold back at home. The Rams are starting to stack up damage. There's 2 of them into the fray. And now MarineLorD will go in for a counter raid here. However, it is quickly seen by VortiX, and he will shift a garrison, meaning MarineLorD, although he achieves a little bit of idle time out of VortiX, he won't be able to snipe any economy.
How big is it to lose the House of Learning? I don't think that much.
The House of Wisdom is like...
House of Wisdom, obviously.
It's all schooling. Who cares, right? We came to play game. The House of Wisdom isn't that big of a deal at this stage. I think this is why it might have been better value to go after the TC expansion. Like, 3 Rams would have killed that. But I think the issue for VortiX is look where his proxy base is and look where that TC is. It's complete different location, right? So you'd be paranoid. Think about what the Horsemen were trying to do. If you were rushing that TC in the bottom corner, then you'd be sniped out by Horsemen. This way, the route's too short. He can't stop you. And that's why the House of Wisdom goes down, and MarineLorD is about to be forced to fight because it's only a town center now, and then it is oblivion for him.
Obviously loses his golden tier H1, so a bit of inefficiency there. Horseman now going in, just trying to get some hits off. I don't think he wants to fight. I think the goal is to muscle up some army, wait for like 50% on your town center, and then force the big engagement.
Yep, Spearmen are getting pepped by the TC, but it's all in. There's a commitment from VortiX. The backstab, MarineLorD striking on both sides and wrapping around onto the archers. It's a disaster for VortiX. He can't get away. He's brushing up against the Horsemen, trying to headbutt them with the archers. Forced to fight here as MarineLorD trades his archers away to get rid of the spears. And the army is going to be obliterated. The villagers pull out, torches out, focusing onto the Ram. VortiX, this really was the all in, and it has failed. Looking like it might be free on the board for MarineLorD as VortiX is now back to the drawing board, down to 12 archers and no Rams.
Oh boy, military basically reset, basically even now on both ends, basically no spearmen left, and MarineLorD is solid, close to 20 villager lead here, even after pulling the villagers there. What a crazy clear up, the patience of this man.
I tell you what, the Bastards, they might like their berries, but they can definitely get a meaty sandwich there because they were able to just completely turn VortiX into the meat. And folks, when you're playing Age of Empires, you don't want to be the meat in the sandwich, right? Especially when the buns are this thick. Like MarineLorD, the amount of horsemen he stacks, something that you can do as the Bastards because of the berry gathering rates. It means you have an influx of food. On top of the fact that he's on deer, he's always optimal in his food gatherings, and all of a sudden VortiX has one more shot at this, and then he's out.
I'll probably have to ask you later when you want to be the meat in the sandwich, but for now I think we will take a look at the next attack here. Ram is going forward again. He obviously knows HP should be pretty low on that main town center, if not repaired, but look at that counter attack. MarineLorD already heavily ahead in villagers and will increase that.
Yeah, they're going to get massacred. And VortiX just revealed his hand with this. Like, it's now obvious the boar's dried up and he's running out of food. He ignored the berries as well. His own gluttony got the best of him. Heavy hit. VortiX now 38 eco to the 64 MarineLorD, and truly, this is his final attempt. If he fails to actually breach the base this time around, he might as well just call GG because MarineLorD is going to be 10 miles ahead of him.
Oh, I'm actually questioning this raid, right? MarineLorD should know he's already heavily ahead in villages. The only thing that could break him is a landmark loss here. So he needs to run back. Yeah, this defense, one clear up, and MarineLorD is fine. But actually, military-wise, VortiX already 12 ahead again.
Yeah, but look what he done. He peeled off the archers, so that's just the freebie for MarineLorD to snipe out some spears. And consider the other issue here. The reason MarineLorD made that raid is look at the wood of VortiX. He doesn't have enough wood to make another ram. He doesn't have enough wood to make troops. Think about the composition of what VortiX is pushing here. It's so reliant on wood. Like 80% of the demand of what he's doing is wood-focused. And that is why MarineLorD is staring at his wood lines relentlessly in this game.
Crazy job by MarineLorD. He's basically exclusively focusing down Spearman. Spearman now out of the range of the town center, and that's a big problem. Only 13 Spearmen on the field against 16 Horsemen. I don't think you can stay here. Villagers can now even pepper down that ram a bit, and just taking so much damage here constantly. Town center, though, at 50%.
Timmy comes out of the TC, born a new life. Whoa, what am I doing here? This is the front line. Yeah, you can script it, mate. Get in. Horseman chasing onto the ram. Forces the attention of the spears, and the villagers are all in. Everything for VortiX is do or die, and he knows it. Every single man, woman, and child armed to the teeth with torches. Burn it or burn with it. These are your two choices. And MarineLorD with the counter pull now. The villagers rushing in. The focus fire from the archers onto them. But they can just focus their shivs straight into the Pepper Boys. In the meantime, the torch is out. The TC getting low on HP, but MarineLorD unfazed by this. He doesn't feel like he needs to go for the repair. He needs to go for the jugular. And the full commitment, the full garrison out. The repairs now keeping it alive, making sure that it is a little bit too much for VortiX. He spreads out, but the main troops are gone. Barely any spears, barely any archers, only pillagers remaining. Villagers in this situation just trying to win the game, but the repairs are too high, the troop count is too high, and it looks like VortiX is gonna die. He cannot outdo the sustain of MarineLorD. Game 3 looks like it's got a clear victor here.
Oh, it's not that clear to me, though. We're out of wood to repair. And look at that, down to a quarter of the HP. But yeah, you're right. Most of the villagers dying here. What a crazy all-in. What a crazy ult by MarineLorD.
I love your optimism. I believe... Oh, yeah, you're right. It may be over. And what a way for it to be over. VortiX 3 down. But my God, did he get MarineLorD's heart rate up.
Ooh. And yeah, you see villager count really dropping there in the end as well. And I really like the approach by VortiX there. Just imagine he could have afforded a second ram.
I mean, that's the story of the game, right? Every stage. Imagine if he just had one more ram, and it really comes down to that play, right? You were questioning whether Horseman should have been raiding into VortiX's base. That's exactly why. That's why MarineLorD had his eyes fully on VortiX's wood. That's all that mattered to him, because he understood that literally everything the Roost do when they do this ram rush in Feudal is wood focused. Without wood, you have no strategy, and you saw how it impacted him. He wasn't producing archers consistently or spearmen. He couldn't get the second ram up, and just imagine a second ram in that situation, right? You saw how close that TC got. If it sets on fire, the torch damage from the villagers might be enough, but no way in hell is MarineLorD allowing that to occur. He sees the bigger picture, he strips away the source of VortiX's power, and now he finds himself on match point up against the Spaniard.
Could we go back to the statistics again? Did I just see something correctly there with MarineLorD's win rate? Something looked really odd. And
do you not believe he's a winner? French 90%.
Bruce, 17 wins, 1 loss?
Yeah, but look at French as well.
94%?
Look at French as well.
French 19 too?
So what you're
How
saying...
good is this guy?
So what you're saying is if it's got cavalry, he wins. If it's a cavalry focus, he just wins.
And the sample size is crazy as well.
Yeah. I mean, you look at, like, I don't think the Abbasses now as well, up at 64%. 14 wins, 8 losses. Keep in mind the Abbasid change only came, like, what, a week and a half ago?